Goeiedag. Good day, fellow South Africans, from a warm Brisbane. And I have attached a clip here where we have the head goon of the EFF, Julius Malema, addressing selected media, i.e. only the media that will give him questions that he can ping-pong with. He doesn't like hard questions, so people like the Herald and other legacy media have been left out of the so-called press conference. Now, I have just one question for white South Africans, okay? Now, you don't have to be a genius to understand that Malema, his whole aim in life is to try and eradicate the white South African population. I mean, that is clearly his aim. You know, the songs he sings, the actions he takes, there's now expropriating land without compensation, the whites being put into poverty and living on the sides of roads to try and survive. I mean, this is just crazy shit. It's just crazy shit. What amazes me, and you'll see it in this video, is that while Malema is obviously leading a movement, his deputy, Floyd Shivambu, doesn't know what that flying F ... is going on. So there's one person who's literally leading this movement. Now, think about this. That one person's sole aim is to try and eradicate the white population in South Africa. I am just amazed that he is still there. I'm going to say no more than that. I'm just amazed that he is still alive. What's happened to the fighting spirit of the Boer? Really, what has happened to the fighting spirit of the Boer? Now look, I'm going to let you watch this video clip, and you'll see at times where Malema's in control, as he always is, and you got Floyd Shivambu on his right-hand side, nodding his head, and you can see it's going boom, boom, straight over his head. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He hasn't got a brain in his head. And he's the deputy. Take out Malema, and that party will go. Think about it. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just making an observation, guys, okay? Now, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and have a great day. Bye for now.
Send a proposal to the EFF that says we must agree with a mixed ownership of the land. We feel very strong that the land should belong to the state. The state must be the custodian of the land. And all of us must get a permission to occupy, depending on what we want to do, to occupy the land. If you want to build a house, go to the state and explain, I want to build a house and I need so many hectares or so many square meters. It will be allocated. The same with school, the same with church, the same with agriculture. So what does it mean? It means that if you've got a farm in Stellenbosch, you continue to farm in that farm, but you shall receive the permission to do so from the state. So you're farming on a farm that is 100 hectares, you're only using 50 hectares. The state will enter into negotiations and say, continue with your 50, or if you want to expand, you want extra 10, you can engage. That will be allocated so that the remaining should be given to those who also have interest to farm on the piece of land. There is no threat to production. If anything, there is a guarantee to increasing production, because the land that was just lying there, not being utilized, is now going to be utilized by other people who ordinarily will not have had access if that land was going to be sold to them, because they do not have money to buy the land. So that's where really we come from.
Okay,
The same goes to houses. You stay in this house, it's your house. There was someone who was coming with a crazy idea that a white person owns a house with 8 bedrooms, therefore we want to go into the house of a white person and say, no, you take 2 bedrooms, and then no, we don't want that. We don't want to stay in the houses of white people. We want the land. If there is a land next to where the suburbs of white people are, we'll take the land and allocate it to our people. Why closer to you? Because that's where resources are. The roads, the water, the electricity, the hospital. So that's what we want. We want to be closer to where development is. Because townships were not designed for residential arrangement. They were barracks. They were prison-like. We cannot continue to subject our people to townships, because that will be unwittingly supporting what apartheid regime did, pushing our people into barracks and cells. So we can't do that. We want to come closer to where things are. Can you imagine if people are closer to where they work? Because many of them use 70% of their salaries on transport. When they become closer to work, they save money, and they are able to invest in more other important things than spending money on transport. When we adopted the report, I met outside the president or the leader of Freedom Front, who said to me, this is just the beginning. We're still going to have a long way. I said to him, I know that. The only thing I'm happy is that I've got age on my side. So I'm prepared to go the long way until we achieve it.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, Marianne Milton, Daily Maverick, just a quick one. It might be a question
Yeah,
of
sure.
strategy and tactics. You say non-negotiable cardinal pillar, state must own the land. That was your original 27 February motion. That was heavily amended by the ANC, and the EFF agreed to it. Was that strategy and tactics to get this process rolling? Now that we got to this point, you're stepping back and you're looking now at your push to what you want. Will you get it? Did I misunderstand that?
Well, we got what we wanted. There were very insignificant amendments. I think they amended Coma or something. I can't
It was
even.
a process amendment.
It was a process amendment,
was
not
not
necessarily
amendment,
the motion. Because remember that even at that time, we've had to go through this process. It was unavoidable. And in our motion, we had not included the process whether we should consult people to give us a permission to start the process to amend or not to amend. We said amend now, Asmus. That's how we start. You amend now. And then everyone says, no, we hear you, we can amend, but let's do this. So, okay, now we're talking. So let's go and do what you're saying. So we got what we wanted. Today when we entered the house, you could see that the DA was very provocative. They wanted to somehow do something that would delay the process. And we took a sober, conscious decision. We said, today they can even call us monkeys or anything. You don't say order, you don't say anything, you just keep quiet because you want this thing to pass. So we were focusing on the ball here. We were not going to be distracted, we were not going to be deterred. We're focusing on amending the Constitution to expropriate land without compensation. What is going to help us? And the good thing is that the monopoly capital, white monopoly capital, appreciates that very well. It says we shouldn't have a situation where Cyril is at the mercy of the EFF come 2019. Because if he's in the mercy of the EFF, then we are guaranteed that the Constitution is going to be amended the way the EFF wants it. So these unnecessary attacks on the EFF is to deliberately ensure that Cyril gets the necessary majority so that it doesn't depend on the EFF for him to be president or for any government to be constituted next year. So we are alive to that, that there's an agenda to discredit the EFF so that whoever is going to constitute government next year should not need the EFF. And by the look of things, it doesn't look good that Cyril will win. He will not win outright, so he will need us. So he must pray that he wins decisively, because if he doesn't win decisively and he needs the EFF, then those strategy and tactics you're talking about, they're going to kick in effectively. So anyone who's going to need the EFF next year will be based on this process. We hope that before we even go to elections, before we close this parliament, would have resolved this matter and would have amended the constitution. That's what we want. We want it to be concluded. Even in the committee there, we said this must be done before we close this fifth parliament.
Stay.
I think you've in part, sorry, I think you've in part covered my question. But what I wanted to know is that when you speak of the bill, you're referring to the constitutional amendment bill, which will require 2/3 of the House, which at the moment, before elections, the EFF and the ANC have together. So if you cannot find each other on this thing of the mixed version and the extremely nationalized version of the EFF, does that then mean that you will not vote with the ANC? If you cannot strong-arm them into agreeing with you guys, you will not vote for that bill to pass in Parliament?
Well, you see, strategy and tactics will deal with that at the right moment, because from time to time we have to, cross certain things. So if they want to insist on us passing the bill in a manner they are suggesting and we do not have the numbers, we will have to discuss, does it cause any harm, or do we abstain and reintroduce the subject again in the new parliament pending the outcome of the elections? Because we may not want to amend the constitution, which is not favorable to us, on the eve of the elections. And the election results give you the negotiating power. And when you go to say, let's amend the constitution, they say, we have to start the whole process again. So we'll talk to that. We're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs before we get what we want.
Excellent. Anika, anyone else? Are you there? No one else?
No, there's a hand at the back.
The hand at the back, I can't see.
It's her.
No, that's Anika.
Is that Anika?
Yes.
And
I just need another language when everybody's done, that's all.
Okay, we'll cover you. Anika.
Thank you. Mr. Malema, Annika Larson from ENCA. Talking about a campaign to destroy the EFF, this question may seg into that comment. Do you think that the reports that your wife is staying in a Hyde Park house owned by Mr. Mazzotti of Carney Links, who has got a reputation of not paying taxes and being involved in the smuggling of illegal cigarettes, I don't know if those are tested or not, is going to damage or has damaged your brand at all as being a party for poor workers and a party that is very anti-corruption?
Well,